Ramesh, you want to say anything?
Yeah. So basically, my point, I'm just comparing, given that I live in the US, I'm comparing what stimulus US has done.
He's living in the United States.
Right, I know.
The thing is, what India has announced, you can't call it a stimulus. Okay, a stimulus per se needs to have immediate rejuvenation. But this is more like a long-term strategy, or like a 5-year plan. We'll do this, hum ye karenge, wo karenge. But it really doesn't make any sense. Stimulus is something that you do immediately. Like, for example, day one, when the US government announced, people got checks in their bank account. They said, okay, don't have to file your taxes. I don't care. I'm going to give you per family, depending on how much your income is, I'm going to get you so much money into your bank account. Right? As a small business, I run a small business. The banks are calling me to say, okay, how can we help you to keep your company afloat? The government just asked me 3 questions online, just 3 questions, and approved a loan. And they've done doing it for every small business in this country. And they are saying that the money will be deposited within the next 2 days. So a stimulus is not something, oh, we're going to put this whole process through. What I don't see, they have hit a lot of bullet points in the so-called 3-day of Bashans, one after another. They've hit the bullet points, but absolutely no way to prove or show that there is actually no stimulus, but we will do this. And how is this going to be implemented? They've said so many things, but there is severe lack of plan to implement this. So I just want your views on that.
There are 2 things in this. One is that they wanted to overwhelm us with lists. The longer, the better, right? So it's like it gives you the impression.
Beat you into silence.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it gives you the impression that day after day after day, long list of things we are announcing. So this is horrible communication. Communication has to be very focused, to the point, and meaningful, right? So it's like a lot of stuff, and you try to hunt what is there in it for me kind of stuff, right? So automatically they're getting a lot of negative views of press because of this, since the mind goes into things which are irrelevant and people are getting angry. So why do I need to see privatization of 6 airports, which has already been announced and adopted in December 2019?
That's right.
On 16th May 2020, right? So it's like that. They have announced a lot of things. A lot of that is loan based. So I was going back to what I suspect is what the thinking in the regime. The problem with this government is that it doesn't leak. It doesn't hold press conferences where they explain where they're coming from. The ministers don't talk openly or what is the thinking. But my personal view is that there is a real fear inside the government that after all, we are a third world country, we are a bankrupt country, we have no money, and all the state revenues are piled up. We have to pay them. You're not paying 61,000 crore not paid to one state, just one state. GST and other dues transfers from the state.
3 years. Yeah.
You can have a federal structure, but you just keep the money to yourself. And then 2 months of no GST, no liquor, no petroleum, nothing. I mean, so they have a real fear that they are going to be facing a situation where they won't be able to pay salaries of central government staff. This is what my feeling is. So at no stage they can or they want to sort of relax that position of theirs. They want to talk a lot. They want to announce a lot of things, but they want to keep their fists absolutely tight. This is the thing. This is my guess from the outside, because I cannot sense, what it's all about. But yeah. I didn't get a chance to mention a couple of points. One of the things that I thought as a suggestion, because everybody says, tell us what the government should do. Even in Twitter timeline, they come and say, you only criticize. Tell us what the government should do, as if the government is bothered to listening to us or whatever. But here is something that they could have easily done. Dr. Swamy is a China expert. COVID happened in China. Kind of deep linkages he has with the Chinese intellectuals, Chinese system. He has equal amount of network in the US. Just till 3-4 years ago, he was a professor at Harvard. He has studied with Nobel subsequent or even previous Nobel Prize winners. So I'm just giving one example, not Dr. Swamy, somebody else. Form a team of experts, interdisciplinary experts, people with domain knowledge, people who have the ability to think laterally, people who can think on their feet in a pandemic, in a very emergency kind of a situation, which we haven't seen before. You can't have the same set of responses of issuing 300, official orders and another 6,000 orders by the states every day by the same set of bureaucrats to deal with something that they've never seen or never heard, and they want to preserve the turf. They haven't done that. To just give an example, Nassim Taleb the other day was tweeting that Singapore government tapped him, his intellect, in trying to figure out how to deal with something like this, because this really hits the foundations of the state. And he consulted the Singapore government, gave advice. He doesn't say what advice is given, but he tweeted. Now here in this country, there is a dear friend of Nassim Taleb who's a minister. He's a civil aviation minister. He's an urban infrastructure minister. Okay, Taleb thinks very highly of him. He thinks very highly of Taleb. Get people like that. Get minds like that to deal with situation which is so unprecedented that you do not have those capabilities and those resources inside the government to do. You haven't done this ever, right? Even
that
what
requires a willingness to decentralize.
Yeah, absolutely. It recognizes a willingness to, I must say, to put the nation before self. That is the first. That is the first thing that one must think of. You are thinking of announcing 20 lakh crore fiscal package at 2020. In the year 2020, if you think of all of those bells and whistles and publicity stuff, obviously you're not going to put the nation in front. So I thought that was one of the points that they could have done.
Jagdish, I wanted to ask you a question. Jagdish?
Sure. No, I just want to know that as you are based in Mumbai and, this is a problem which is spread all over India and different states, how do you think some of the state governments have responded to those issues, especially Mumbai and Maharashtra?
Mumbai got really, it's the same story, except Kerala, which has really responded very imaginatively and very smartly. I doubt if anybody else has any better response. They are only reacting. The point about this kind of a situation is that you have to get ahead of the pandemic. If you keep reacting and keep chasing it, you're not going to go very far. And from what I hear, there is as I've been telling you, that we are working directly with the hospitals and the doctors. Every day, those young residents are coming to our house and picking up stuff from the gloves and masks and etc., which we have stored in the basement and in front of our house, in the apartment, in our cars and so on. And the few occasions that I sat, I stood on the road and listened to them. These are 24, 25-year-old residents. They are at the front line of what's going on in the state-owned hospitals. It's absolutely a pathetic scene. No politician comes, no bureaucrat comes. When there is a video that has gone viral of the problems in the Sion Hospital, the dean, who's been working 18 hours a day, he's been removed from that position. Why? Because they just want to show that they're doing something. This affects the morale of the people down the line from top to bottom. The municipal commissioner, who was so active, has been removed. Why? Because this viral video that has gone around circulating. So the politicians reacting exactly the way they react, which is an eye and a ear to what the public is saying, and the realities on the ground be damned.